All right, Wells Adams is here. Appreciate you coming through, man.
Hell yeah.
Wells just telling me he comes to New
this
York
month.
every week from LA.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a commute.
Motherfucker.
Are you? How long do you?
Monday night red eye. I get in at 5:45 in the morning on Tuesday. We go film the Good Morning America segment, and then I'm on the 2:30 flight back to Los Angeles.
God damn.
I hope
Yeah, as
they
you were
pay
explaining
you
to
a
me that
lot
you were just
for
doing
that.
good morning, I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like it's a regular,
Yeah.
ordinary gig. That better be a big premium.
I just love Michael Strahan so much, you know?
Yo, wild though that parlaying this into, Good Morning America and like, everybody can kind of make the most of like Bachelor appearances and reality TV show stuff now, but I feel like you're really doing the damn thing.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize like where I came from.
You already kind of had a
beforehand.
media background, right?
Yeah, I was a radio host. Like
Right.
this is what my life. This room is what my life looked like in Nashville for 12 and a half
Sorry
years.
about
I hope a little bit better, but
No, this is cooler actually. There's actually some character on the wall.
You did 2 shows, right? You
I
did a
did-
morning show and an afternoon show?
No, there was a time which I was doing 3 shows. I hustled hard. It was like I would do a morning show on the alt station. So that's like a 4:30 in the morning. Get your ass up, go in, prep your show. I didn't have a producer. Like
Yeah,
I did everything
one-man
myself.
operation.
Yeah,
Yep.
And like I did all my booking as well.
Yeah.
I would do my morning show. It would end at 10, and then I'd have I was a MD, like a music director, so I'd have to take music meetings with label reps trying to get me to spin their whatever between like 11:30 and 12:30. I'd take a nap, try to eat. I would do an afternoon drive on the classic rock, which I definitely kind of phoned in because it's classic rock. I'm not breaking anything new. Guess what? It's Tom Petty and Rolling Stones up next, guys. and then that was from 3 to basically 7, and then at 7 I'd go over to the pop station. And I'd play.
So you just have been an overachiever.
Because now on your podcast, on your favorite thing, you were saying you work harder now. How the fuck do you work harder
taking
now?
fucking red eyes every week. That's how. This was about a plane ride. That's how.
Yeah, but I don't know. The days are different now.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, it didn't suck ass. Now that I'm like 35,
Taking
like
its toll.
yeah, I'm like, God, this is taking forever.
It is like
you know?
it kind of is like modern fame, or even I think it work. I think it works no matter what. I think any work in the 21st century,
Eventually
you
becomes-
don't really get. You're never off work.
Yeah.
You're always Erica
24 hours.
famously had said that you have to reply to an email within 3 hours, and like I feel like most jobs are like that.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
like you're on call.
Well,
24/7.
or most like successful people. I mean, you can probably be
Yeah.
one of those people who don't abide by all that, but you're not gonna make it to Good Morning America. And
It's not even that though. For me, like I get freaked out when I'm not working.
Yeah.
Like I think something's wrong.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
bad way to be, though. I feel like we're gonna.
I know.
Like, it's like it's a
ulcers.
one-way ticket to like an early grave. The way
Do
we handle
you work
it.
a
here.
lot at home? I remember when we started a while ago, my dad would be like, he was trying to tell me, he's like, you got to set up a place in your apartment where you work because and then
Yeah, when
you're
we're
not in
working
that
from
room,
home, your couch
when
is
you're
your
not in
desk.
that room.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, Dad, I live in fucking Manhattan. I have a toilet in my bedroom,
Yeah.
so I don't really have the space for an
I
office.
can't go to the study and then over to this wing. Yeah.
So like my couch is gonna be the office, but I always think back on that where like I feel like that almost planned my future right there, where it's like you're never gonna feel like you're off work. It's always gonna be on.
It's been the opposite for me because like when I was doing actual radio proper, I had a studio and an office, and I drove in, and like that's where I did my business, and then I left and I went home and I didn't think about work. And now I built a studio in the house I live in now with Sarah. And now when you work from home, you never have off. Like you're always like, yeah, I can go up to the
I can
studio
pop
and
right
I
in.
I can
Yeah.
cut that spot real quick, you
Yeah,
know?
right,
And so
right.
now I feel like getting back to your point before, is like I work more because I'm always on call, whereas before, like when I clocked out, like I was done for the day.
Yeah.
You don't have your studio.
Well,
you couldn't even if you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very envious of those lives. Like I have an aunt who doesn't have an iPhone or a phone because she just says, I do not want you to be able to contact me at all times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what a life that must
Yeah.
be. You know?
But the advent of social media, I feel like, was like huge for us. But at the same time, like personally, it was like, fuck. Like you have to watch every game. You have to watch. You have to
Yeah.
tweet every episode of The Bachelor. You have to be on every award show, every episode, every game. Like you just never can stop.
Well,
or I mean, again, you can, but then you're also just not going to be.
That's why I
on the
became
level you
I
want.
became like a night owl. I started like from like 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Like everyone else is awake, everyone else is asleep, and that's when I'm just like, okay, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking chilling now. Because you have to shut off at some point. If
Yeah.
you're working all day, you have to have a time where you're like, I'm not doing anything right now.
I mean, we're living in a weird world where we're addicted to the phones.
Yeah,
Like
full-blown
it's
addiction.
like I've never had an addiction to anything like the phone, but when I went to do the Bachelorette, they take your phone away. And I remember, like, we all like went through withdrawals
Yeah.
of being like,
You always reach for your phone, like your
you're
pocket.
you're always thinking it's buzzing in your
Yeah.
pants, and
The phantom
can't-
vibrate.
Yeah, and then I remember like a crackhead producers would be walking around, like typing messages or whatever, and be like, "Hey, let me get some of that Twitter.
What's trending? What's trending?
Suck your
What the-
dick for some Twitter right now."
It is. It's like it also because it's become such a nice security blanket. Where
Yeah.
like if you're awkward waiting for someone at a restaurant, if you're awkward even in conversation, if there's a lull in conversation, you just fucking take it out, pretend to check the time, forget
Yeah.
what time it is, and then you put it away. But it's just
Having it.
it's nice to have it right there.
It's
I
a
feel
true
it's a good
addiction.
blankie.
It's scary. Yeah, it is. It's a.
And while you're
pacifier.
at it, please subscribe to this podcast and rate and review in the app.
I remember watching the Bachelorette season you were on, and I remember thinking like, you were the radio guy with like jokes. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's if I was ever on a show like that would be my only play. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm not beating any of these guys in the physical challenges or
Yeah.
any of that shit. Like I can talk, we can have a conversation, and I'm gonna hit you with jokes like that. It was an inspiration, Wells.
Yeah, no, I was pumped that like that was my storyline. I didn't
Yeah.
know what my storyline was going to be, and
Which is always a concern, right? Because they can fuck you with that. If
Totally.
they want to paint you a picture, you're done.
for sure. And like people can just go after you if they want to go after you, and then you're just like, how do you respond to this kind of stuff?
Right.
And I remember. There was a moment where I was like, "Oh, I'm that guy." Okay, cool. Yeah, and it was.
Nice.
We had this guy, the villain of our season, and he was just kind of like.
Which guy was that? What
His
was his
name is
name?
Chad.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We don't need to talk about any of that
No.
right now. But he gets kicked off the show. But he was known for like always having his protein powder. And I remember producers coming up to me and being like, "Hey, man, we want you to do the eulogy for Chad, and we want to pretend like the protein powder is his ashes." And they were like, "Can you write something up real quick and have like a whole like eulogy?" And I was like, "Yes,
Yeah. You're
I'm the
anti-Chad.
funny guy."
Yeah. That's the way to, hey, bro, and I think it worked out pretty fucking well.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
The ultimate, like, okay, maybe I didn't win, but I think I won.
Is it easier once you get that role where you're like, okay, this is who I am? Because I feel like it's harder to be yourself than it is to be like, okay, this is who I'm supposed to be.
I was just being myself. I just didn't know like where.
But it's like it's one part of yourself. Like it's not your whole self, right? It's like, okay, this is the part of myself they want me to highlight, so I can lean into this. It's kind of like here, but like when you're on one show, like you're really using this part of your brain, and when you're on a different show, it's like, okay, I'm gonna use this side, and it's easier rather than just going in there and being like, hi, I'm John.
Yeah, I had an unfair advantage because I did like at that time 9 years of live radio, so I was really good at self-editing, and like you guys can say whatever you want, but I had the FCC breathing down my neck all the time, so I was really good about like having what I wanted to say and then saying it in the right way to not get in trouble. And I remember producers were like, "Hey, just do whatever you want to do," and I'm like, "No, motherfucker, like,
I know how this game
good
works.
at."
Yeah. You want that, so that's why I'm not gonna do that. They are some masterful
It's a well-oiled
artists,
machine,
dude.
man.
I mean, like the shit that they can pull is. I mean, it's. I was joking with Trent, who's our Bachelor guy here. I call it the Bachelor Cinematic Universe. It's the BCU at this point. It's like Marvel. It's like you have this whole there's spin-offs, and everybody keeps their even when the show's over, they keep their fame. It's like a whole fucking community now that just never stops, and those producers are just always on top of it. It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It is like this Marvel world. I would say the fame part is pretty fleeting. It's hard to like continue to stay relevant.
Right.
You'll notice like people kind of start doing thirsty things when it starts to
Doing your Instagram ads, and shit like that.
and like no judgment here. I do stupid Instagram ads too, but yeah, I will say this. So like, I don't work on the Bachelor or the Bachelorette franchises. I was a part of them. I do work on Paradise, and so like I see how that is made, and the one question that like everyone asks is like, it's scripted, like they tell you what to do, and my thing is like, these people aren't smart enough to remember fucking lines, all right? Myself included,
we're not like trained actors.
They're just being themselves, and if so fact so, like that's what comes out of everyone being themselves.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like dumpster fires ignite because everyone is a dumpster fire. You know,
That's
Put a
something
bunch
we
of
get
dumpster fires in a
accused
room.
of.
You're gonna get a big dumpster fire.
We get that a lot here. Like, oh, they must have scripted that. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, like, we couldn't.
If we scripted
you are
that-
giving us so much credit if you think we script these things. Like, these are
What's
just
the Oscar?
idiot people working in the same building, and shit just happens
Yeah.
sometimes. It's much better. You know, it's truth is stranger than fiction. You know, pretty common phrase, and it rings true everywhere. It's not fun to have scripted stuff unless it's a fucking TV show. Like,
Right,
like
you're a full-blown
like a
actor,
scripted
a set,
television
like a
show.
crew of actors.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So now you get to just like bartend in where is that place? It's always in the same spot, right?
yeah, it's in outside of Puerto Vallarta in this little town called Sayulita, which is super dope.
I don't even know where you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta
in Sayerta.
So that's Mexico.
Okay, all right. Honestly, it was gonna be a Central South American
Yeah.
guess, so pretty close. But I mean, I would have guessed Italy too.
Yeah,
I had a few spots in mind.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, no, it's in this little surf town, which is really cool, and it films all of June, and
Oh, you're there like a whole month, huh?
yeah, and it's
You just
really
sit there mopping up a bar, making some drinks, talking to people about their bad decisions.
yeah,
What
and
a
like that's
gig.
the thing, but also like it sucks. Like everyone wants my job until they walk their happy ass down those steps, and then they
Yeah.
see me doing it, and they're like, "Oh, you're making the drinks." I'm like, "What the hell do you think I was doing?"
Just a fucking bartender.
And then like inevitably, what will happen is everyone will get like. Not overserved, but they'll get tipsy and they'll be annoying and they'll leave their cups everywhere. And I only have a limited number of cups because it's from like art department, right? So then I walk around the beach and I'm picking up everyone's
Give me your
cups.
empties. Chris Harrison, can we get this guy some more fucking cups? Like that's where we're gonna draw the line. The budget of the Bachelor, we can't get enough cups.
The first year, they never aired it, I don't think. But like the first year, Chris thought it was so funny that I'd be walking around,
Yeah.
being like, "Clean up after you," just like yelling at them, and him being like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
this is amazing." But like, yeah, I'd be like, I had to clean up, I'd get the cups, and I gotta wash them, and I also want everyone to get like massive diarrhea, so I have to like really wash them well,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then I have to go get like all the ice, I have to stock the bar, like.
You need like a busboy. You need this is bullshit, man.
No, but the reason why it's not possible to do, like if you think of the logistics of the show, if you've seen that bar, everyone's seen that bar, and now if you now think about the shot of like over my shoulder shot, right? That means that there's a camera guy next to me. That means there's a sound guy next to me. And that means there's also a producer in there. There isn't room for a bar
anybody
next
else.
to me,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like it's like that because there's just the bar's not big enough. And that year that I did the show with Yuki, she was the Japanese girl that couldn't speak any English. As much as I love her and like how much like wonderful energy she brought to the show, it sucked so hard for me because I was constantly running into cameras. Like
Yeah.
I had black eyes from just like smoke in my face in cameras. So yeah, I need help, but I can't.
I like how you said like, and inevitably people get overserved.
Yeah.
like
You're the one
that's-
serving them, dude.
It's like standing in front of a house on fire with a gasoline and a match. You're like, well, that was gonna happen, of course.
I can't believe it.
You guys are drunk? What? I've served you 30 shots. What's happening here?
Back in the old days, you could really just do whatever you wanted, and then in recent years they've kind of battened down the hatches, and so now which is like liability-wise terrifying, I am in charge of making sure that people don't get too drunk, and so I'm like denoting how much they're drinking, and
That would be the worst part of the job.
Yeah.
Being like, oh no, you can't have another one.
What's really hard is I know these people. I'm not just like a bartender. Like now these people, like I see them every single day, right? They're my friends. But when you go to a bar and you get fucked up, the bartender can be like, "You're cut off. Get out of here." It can be, and
Can't do that to
that's
your buddy.
it.
Yeah.
You can't do that with your friends because
Yeah.
there's cameras, so they can get really defensive, right?
I'm not drunk.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not as thinking as you drunk, all that bullshit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, all right. So I'll like straight up when people are like, and I also can read the room and I know these people well enough, but a lot of times I'll just make them bad drinks.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you need to like bring it down a level.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when we've done it where people have, because they'll be like, someone's got a date card, everyone gets shots. And I'm like, so-and-so cannot have a drink. So I'll like make them like a water tequila.
Yeah, is there any vodka in this? Like, no, there isn't.
And like everyone's like taking like normal tequila shots, and everyone's like, oh, and then the one person that's drinking water is like, oh, you faker.
Nothing worse than that.
That happened to me one time on a 4th of July in Newport, Rhode Island, and it was a rainy 4th of July, so like everyone went right to the bar right away. No one did any beach, no one did any cookouts, nothing like that. And so I was blackout by noon, and there's a bar I very often frequented. So they were cool with me. They didn't want to kick me out, and they just kept giving me Narragansetts with like a tall boy can, and they just kept filling it with water
in a can,
straight up. And I had no idea.
You were so hydrated. The next day.
I had no fucking clue. Like my friends said to tell me the next day, like, you know, you were just drinking waters all day. I had no idea.
We had a guy here who thought he ate an edible, and it was just like a waffle or whatever fucking pastry it was. And he was like having a panic attack, like, I'm so high. I was like, no, you're not, dude. No, you are not. There's nothing in there. So now I feel, well, so you mentioned you're friends with everybody.
Yeah.
How close of friends are we talking? Because we heard you say that you would hide a body for Nick Vial. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I'm doing for like this guy, like my brother. I don't know if I'm hiding a body for the.
And I also I don't know if I would actually hide a body for Nick Vial.
Who would you hide a body? Like, what's your cutoff? Like, you're hiding a body for Sarah?
Yeah.
She comes to you
sure.
and what if she comes to you and she's like, I flat out murdered someone. There's no like more like I was justified. I just murdered someone. You hide a body?
Yeah, I think I'm going down with that ship.
Bro, if I were you, I'm riding that ship to the bottom of the fucking ocean, man. Titanic, motherfucker. She
like
could
the
be a
captain
serial killer. I'm
locking
like,
yourself in.
Yeah.
I would organize
them
her
all.
Dexter, the
the
slides.
slides, yeah.
Like, okay, we got a new one. Perfect.
Definitely.
That one goes in there.
you
Alphabetical order, very
see
nice.
Wells throwing body, like fucking garbage bags off a boat. Like, yep, just doing Sarah's work.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm the mom and don't fuck with cats.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
You know, the problem with those animal rights activists.
That was an all-time spin zone from that chick. They're the monsters. No, it's your psychopathic son that's the monster. No, I would go down with that shit for sure.
Yeah.
I got a bone to pick with you on that though.
Okay.
You gotta stop the Instagram. You're making us all look bad.
I know.
You're a dick.
It's
big time dick.
yo, my girlfriend is extraordinarily unique. In fact, I'd argue she's probably the only woman of her age on the planet who doesn't follow The Bachelor and has never seen Modern Family. We tried to start it,
Wow.
but
Almost impossible.
Hulu doesn't have all the episodes,
seasons.
so she doesn't want to start a season
Yeah.
without season 1. And I was just telling her about my day, and I was like, yeah, we're interviewing Wells Adams later. He's Sarah Hyland's fiance from Modern Family. He's on The Bachelor. And she goes, oh no, I know who they are. They're the Instagram couple.
Yeah.
And I was
The
like, come
Instagram
on,
couple.
man.
I mean, it is what it is. I don't have to tell you.
It's like
gotta keep that retention
Look,
rate high.
Do
guys.
I blame you at all? Of course not. Do I hate you for it? Yeah, there's some parts there.
Definitely.
There's some
man.
parts there where come on.
There's a hint of raging jealousy too. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons right now to hate Wells, man.
Yeah. I don't disagree. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
Oh, Wells, I know.
So she was just a fan of, like, she saw you on The Bachelor. Is that how you connected?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She.
That's crazy. That's one of the few, I'd argue, successful, like, Twitter. It was with Twitter started, right?
Yeah, it started with Twitter, and then I think I DM'd her on Instagram.
Right.
You know,
Oh, that was my next question. So you see that she like makes a comment about you or knows about you, and then you slide?
like, yeah. Well, it was known like in the Bachelor world that she was a big fan of the show. Like she would like live tweet it and stuff.
Right.
And then I think it was we talked, and just as like.
I'm on the show. You're a fan.
You're a fan. Oh my! The fact that you're a fan of the show, that's so dumb, or whatever.
Yeah.
And like to this day, I think she'll say that she was flirting with me, but I don't know if she really was. And then I became the bartender.
That's such a guy answer.
Yeah, I
like
don't know.
a girl was flirting with you. I don't think she was.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I was flirting with
Yeah,
you.
Signs going over your fucking.
But it's also Sarah Hyland. I was
Yeah.
just like, of course, I'm nowhere near the league of her. And then I became the bartender. And then I remember she tweeted out like, oh my God, Wells, the bartender, best season ever. And that's when I was like, okay, I
There's
think
something
I
there.
think this is a thing.
Yeah.
So then I started.
What a
mess-
fucking moment that's
Yeah.
got to be. Are you like talking to your buddies? Like,
I was talking
Yo,
to
I
my-
think this is. I think I got to do something about this, right? Like, you see this?
Yeah, of course. And I remember like texting her, and then I was talking to my sister about it, and my sister was like, "Dude, she's got a boyfriend. and I was like, oh shit, I completely like misread the signs. Like, oh my God. So I was like, and my sister was like, don't be that guy. Like, don't, like, everyone already thinks you're like a douchey reality TV guy. Don't be that guy. And I was like, good call, sis. I'm not going to do it. But like, I didn't know like the way that like Hollywood works. A lot of times people break up and they don't publicize it because she was dating another actor for quite a long time. So I straight up like kind of ghosted her. I was like, I
worked.
Yeah, like I misread this. Like, I don't know. And then, so then that was it. And then a year later, comes around and I'm bartending again, and I think she tweeted again, and I was like, and that's when I think the story came out that she was single. And I was like, slid back in.
Yo, I mean, that's the perfect storm of like everything. Like you being a radio host who can like read the room, like you said, you know how to talk. Then you get talked out of hitting on her. She's probably sitting at home like, this motherfucker is not DMing me back. Like, I can't believe it. And then it just adds up to like the perfect story.
Have you
and
heard
now you have to hide the bodies when she murders
people. Yeah, no, which is fine. Have you heard the story of our first date though?
No.
That one's kind of bonkers. So she got, like, I don't know if people know this, but she has a kidney transplant. And so we were talking, and we had never met in person, but we had been like FaceTiming and all that kind of stuff. And
oh wow!
And so
you went FaceTime before meeting in
Sarah
person,
exactly.
Dude. That's like going limp dick before boner. That's you're like oh fucking everyone looks fat and gross.
Oh, I know.
FaceTime.
Oh, it's
Come
like
on.
all just this angle.
You got a selfie stick.
Yeah.
The whole time.
So she calls me and she's like, "Hey man, if you wanna meet me, you need to come out before Tuesday. If you don't come out before Tuesday, it's going to be a long time before we get to hang out." And I don't know what she's talking about, but she was alluding to this kidney transplant that she was going to have. And I'm such like a dipshit guy where I'm like, it'll all work out. Like the universe aligns for me. Like being like whatever, not knowing how serious it was.
Right.
Weirdly enough, I used to do like a bunch of like help get dogs adopted in Nashville. Like I did like a thing. I know, sorry.
Motherfucker. He takes the shirt off.
And also, like, I got a 14-inch dick, and
So like there's this thing called the Hero Dog Awards, which is like it's an award show for like basically service dogs. And they called me and they're like, "Hey, we want someone to present at the Hero Dog Awards this weekend in Los Angeles. Would you like to come?" And I was like, "You pay for my flight? Great." So then I called Sarah up being like, "Guess what? Gonna be there this weekend. Let's fucking hang out." And come to find out, like months later, she was like, "Oh my God, so romantic." He had his people like reach out and like get him this spot on the award show. I was like, I don't know if I had people. What are you talking about? Like, I just answered a phone call. So I finish up doing the Hero Dog Awards thing. She's like, "Hey, I'm going to this party. We'll go get drinks afterwards." I said, "Great." Finish doing what I'm doing. Text her. She goes, "Hey, listen, we're in Beverly Hills. There's no place open right now. I've got a +1 to this party. Just come to this party." So I said, "Okay, great." I'm still wearing a suit, so I don't feel.
Fits in, yeah.
So I take a Uber over there. There's a party and I didn't know about this. There's a party in Hollywood called the Night Before the Emmys Party. And it is a party with no press where everyone who is nominated for an Emmy, which is like everyone in Hollywood is at this party. And it's like a who's who, hobnob, like networking thing. And I didn't know this. So I show up to the Night Before the Emmys party for my first date. I've never met this girl in person. And so she walks out, gives me a wristband. First person we walk into is Joel McHale. Who,
at this point, are you like shaking her hand? Is it like a hug and a kiss? Is it like
I think it was like a hug and like a kiss on the cheek.
Okay.
Thing. And like the first person we meet is like Joe McHale, and he's like cracking wise, and he's like, "Why?"
Yeah, we know that game.
Yeah. It's like, "Why is this douchebag here?" He didn't say that, but that's what he was thinking.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
And the next person we run into is Johnny Galecki, and he's the guy from Big Bang.
Yeah.
And Sarah's like, "Oh my God, how's the house?" And he's like, "Well, it fucking burned down." And so I start laughing because it's Johnny Galecki, and I just know him as funny guy from Big Bang. He goes, "Why are you laughing?" And I go, "Oh, you're serious?" He goes, "Yeah, Malibu fires," and like whatever, like fires. And I was like, "Oh." And then he showed a picture, and all that was left was a chimney. I go, well, at least the chimney made it. And it was like off to a terrible start.
Is she like giving you looks or anything?
She's
And she's
just
just like, Jesus Christ,
oh
dude.
my
Like,
God.
put a muzzle on this guy.
Yeah. So then we walk in, and she's like introducing me to like all the people, like the Stranger Things kids are there, and I'm like, oh man, the Game of Thrones people there. And here's the thing that like I think turned it for me. So that's a party not for reality TV people. Like in Hollywood, like actors think very poorly.
Looking down on you,
right?
Yeah.
But I've been invited to this, and I'm also the bartender on a show that everyone really likes to watch. So I was like this novelty to all of these people. So that everyone's come up being like, "Oh shit, dude, the bartender, is it real? Is it like, all that kind of
all the
stuff.
questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember her coming up to me being like, you're more popular at this party than I am right now. And I was like, oh, this is weird, man. I know, right? And then I remember I was talking to, I think it was the girl from Westworld. And because I was like so into that show at the time. And this sounds like such a fucking name droppy story, but it just was crazy. Like to understand how the first date was just crazy to me. And she goes, hey, are you on a date with her? Because they were friends. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, hey, maybe you should go fucking talk to her. And I was like, you're right. I'm going to go do that.
I don't know much about Evan Rachel Wood. I know she doesn't fuck around.
Yo, that's like that is maybe
Especially
the best piece of advice that anyone has ever or will ever give to you. Like, hey, you see that girl over there? That beautiful, like talented, whatever. She wants you to talk to her, so go fucking do it. That I truly, genuinely believe that should be a movie.
Yeah,
I mean, those movies already kind of exist. Like, you know, I'm like the guy in over my head, just trying to make it. You know, but like that one sounds like a fucking script.
That's like one of those. It's what people say about the Bachelor.
Yourselves and go do it.
Where it's like on the Bachelor, where they say like, you know, it's almost like it's a relationship in fast forward where you do all like the romantic parts where it's like almost like you have to kind of fall in love. Like that night sounds like a relationship in fast forward. If like only like she had a pet die too, where it would be like now you have to console her through that moment. Like, we've done the whole roller coaster night. We've been through an entire relationship. We got it.
No, it was worse. She had a kidney transplant.
Right. I forgot about the kidney transplant. That's right. Oh, that's such a wild story. I forgot about the kidney transplant in it.
That is one of the most romantic, entertaining, whatever tales I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I think it was. She's not a stupid person. Like, she's very smart, and I do think it was a little bit like, let's see if this kid can handle.
Throw him in the deep end.
Yeah.
And well, there's a lot to handle. I mean, you're at the rap party the other day, and now, I mean, I guess you're probably used to it, but again, I really feel like being, you know, in media and radio and just being able to kind of handle yourself. I don't think a lot of other people without that confidence would have been able to swim. I feel like it would be sink for a lot of other people.
Yeah, I mean, like, I came from this radio world where I get so much more starstruck for musicians. Like actors, it's cool to meet like really big actors, but I'm not like, oh my God, you know. But if Robert Plant walks in the room, I'm like, holy shit, I need a picture, you know.
Right.
And so like
I don't know who that is. You're gonna throw that out there.
Led Zeppelin.
He's like, you such big motherfucker.
I nodded, but I was like, I like Wells. I'm gonna be honest with him. Don't know who that is.
So like I don't know. I was never nervous about that. Like, I would be much more nervous if for musicians and for interviewing all those people for like years and years in radio. It just made it so like I was much more just like, well, fuck it.
Right. Yep.
Johnny Galecki, your house burned down. I'm really sorry.
At least the chimney made it is a great line. Great line.
Is there ever any part like, and this is so weird to even ask because it's like you're, as far as fame goes, a one percenter, right? Like you are in the upper echelon of fame, but there are very few people who are more famous than you. Sarah Hyland is one of them, and it makes it like in like forgetting Sarah Marshall when he's holding
the purse,
like holding the purse, something like that. Is there ever anything like that?
Oh, I have that all. It's that is. I've like looked for that clip because I've been wanting to post it because it's so real to me. And it's so funny too. It's like, hey, big guy, get the fuck out of the way. That's the line in the movie. And I've had that so many times. Like in the beginning especially, it was like, I don't even walk the carpet with you.
Right.
Like you don't even get to do this with me. I was like, totally got it. And then it's become more of like we do it together. But in the beginning, it was like hold the purse. I would say like, I'll hold the person the glasses, then I'd walk around the step and repeat, like the big billboard that everyone's taking pictures, and
That's where the help goes.
Yes, and I'll meet her on the other end. Like, yeah, you are, madam. Your spectacles. But now the funny thing is that we'll do it together. And then they have this thing called Glamour Shots, and it's a nice way of saying, "Hey, motherfucker, get out. We want to take pictures of
pretty girl,
of the actually talented one." Yeah. So they're like, "Hey, Sarah, can we get a glamour shot?" And then it's like she pushes me aside, and then I walk away.
I mean, the only thing I'll say about that is, I saw Alex fucking Rodriguez do that recently.
Right,
you know what I mean?
true.
Like that to me is like, it can be anybody at this point, because I mean, and I would wear that like a badge of honor. Be like, yeah, man, I don't know, that's my girl. I'll go sit in the stands. I'll go whatever, you know.
Yeah.
She's going home with me. That is wild, dude. I mean, and so now what? Good Morning America. What's like the the end goal or the goal for you?
I mean, I don't know. I just, my whole thing is just like positive forward momentum. Like, don't like rest on your laurels stuff. Like I was saying before, there's the relevancy thing dies so quickly. So you got to be able to use whatever you've got and continue pushing forward. I mean, I do my I actually do 3 podcasts, but the 2 podcasts that's like fun. Like that lets me do the radio thing still, because I don't actually do terrestrial radio anymore.
How did you get hooked up with Brandy? Was that a Nashville thing?
Yeah, so we both lived in Nashville, and we actually pitched a show, because I worked for iHeart when I was doing those 3 shows, and we pitched like a nighttime show, her and I, and we pitched it to iHeart, being like we wanted to syndicate it and like make it into a big show, and they passed on it, and we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm the bartender on this show, and she's the sister of Miley Cyrus. Like, what show is better than this? So then we turned it into a podcast, and then like, a couple years later, iHeart came to buy it, and we were like, oh,
that's a shame.
Too bad. Shucks.
That's got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, it was a nice one.
A little bit of vindication there, yeah.
But yeah, Brandy's cool, and like her family is so weirdly, wildly entertaining and amazing that like going over their house is like the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Their family is one of the. I think fame is obviously such a weird thing, but in particular that level where it's such a roller coaster, and there's so like Miley's been the villain, she's been the hero, she's been so many things, and I think almost her and her dad now have like risen back to the top. Where like Miley's the hero, obviously Old Town Road is a monster, and it's like I feel like that family goes with them with through Hannah Montana and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and they've
seen it all.
I'd say they're at the peak right now.
Yeah, they're having a moment for sure. I would say like the person that doesn't get as much credit as she should is Tish, the mom. She's like very much like Kris Jenner, like she's managing a lot of the moving parts. And
I feel like the only time I've seen Tish is when she's got that viral picture of her in front of so much weed.
Yo, yeah. Girl loves smokes and weed.
It is like a room of weed.
Oh, yeah.
Not plants of weed.
I've never seen
like
this.
Whatever, I don't know, dime bags or nugs. Yeah, like it's a significant portion of weed she has.
But like she was the one who suggested. So like the way that Old Town Road went was Lil Nas X had that charting on Billboard, and because country music is such like an old boys thing, they were like, this can't chart on country. This is a rap song. So they ripped it off. And by the way, coming from a radio world, it's so fucking hard to get a song to chart.
Yeah.
To do that to a kid I thought was terrible.
So fucked up, yeah.
And
although it ended up, I think it galvanized
so
and
then
like
what
put them on the
happened-
map as far as news goes,
Yeah, well, that's how Tish found out about it. And
Right.
Tish was like, I think if Billy Ray writes a lyric on this song, then it's a country song. And so, like, she connected all the dots and then made that song really what it was, and it won all the Grammy. He had never won a Grammy, which is crazy that, like, Achy Breaky Heart didn't win a Grammy.
Yeah.
He just won his first Grammy this past year. But, yeah, that family is so funny and so amazing. And to
Look
smoke
at
weed
you,
with
man,
them.
just rubbing elbows with
I know.
the Hollywood elite. you have, listen, you're a good-looking guy, but you've just snaked your way into this.
The biggest con.
Yeah, I love it. Snake it till you make it, man. Unbelievable. Well done. Do you still like? I'm getting the vibe that you do Bachelor in Paradise, but the actual Bachelor and Bachelorette franchises, I feel like you're not as much into.
I mean, I'm into it because I'm doing a segment on Good Morning America, so I got to talk about it.
Right. But like, is Sarah still like a super fan, or is it kind of like
Yeah, we watch it. It's like our thing
Okay.
to watch. It's also like good for me because I should get to know these people because I'm gonna be
see 'em on.
spending a summer with them.
Right,
you know?
right.
So I like to, and I think the show's funny, but yeah, other stuff that's going on. I can't talk about it, but there's another television show that we're going to be doing, which will be fun. So when that
Bachelor
comes out-
related or
No.
totally separate?
totally separate.
Ooh.
When you say we, you mean you and her, or just like you?
No,
you know,
just me.
Okay.
Sarah will never,
That-
ever
yeah.
stoop so low as to do a reality television
I mean, I can
show.
understand why, but like, I would watch you too.
Yeah, well, it's funny because
Yeah.
everyone says like, have Sarah come down and bartend with you and give advice, which like in theory it's great, but I'm always like, Mike Fleiss doesn't have enough money to pay her. the-
You can't afford my girl, dude.
Right.
like her
Modern
rate from
Family,
Modern
bro.
Family is
Yeah.
so outrageous
Yeah.
that what are you?
It would have to be a full blown like charity event. Like I'm doing this pro bono for you scrubs. I'm gonna come down from my ivory tower for a minute here. Good for her, man. Good for you too, dude. It's awesome to watch it all unfold. So I mean,
Would you ever go into actual acting?
No, I'm not that. Like
Have you ever tried?
I've had things where I had to learn lines I cannot.
Actual acting sounded like a dig or something like that. Obviously, it wasn't. I feel
No,
like when
no,
you
no.
say like
Yeah, no,
I
it-
wasn't.
it-
No, I'm not an actor. I'm a radio host. I can be a TV host. I can play myself really well. But like,
all right, let's say we write a role for you where you
Yeah.
get to play Wells Adams.
Then yeah.
Okay.
But that's not acting to me. That's me being me.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? In like a
It's like Justin Timberlake and Alpha Dog. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just being the cool guy covered in tattoos. I can do this.
I got this. I got this.
Or Justin Timberlake in most things. Justin
Anything
Timberlake's
just like does.
in. Justin Timberlake in Just Friends. Justin Timberlake in
Social network. He branched out a little bit.
I don't think so.
Not
He
really,
was
yeah.
the
He was
rich
just-
playboy who said $1 billion was cool. Wells Adams, the new Justin Timberlake.
yeah.
Hey, let's just keep saying that till it sticks.
Yeah.
Well's Adams,
Except
the
for
new
like
Justin
the
Timberlake.
last thing he was in the news for down in New Orleans.
Oh, the
God,
little hanky panky.
Well,
It was.
well,
Look,
when I
I'm gonna get my guys
it
back here.
Didn't look great, but it wasn't like, you know.
I didn't watch the
People
full
have been
video.
in this day and age.
Yeah.
That's as fucking harmless as it gets. Think about it, man. When I heard that news, I'm like, oh no, like what did JT do? He must
It was
have,
just like
you
it was
know,
basically just this, right? It was a little
yeah,
hand
it's a
holding.
little-
Sure,
I
come
mean, not
on.
good, not good.
Not
You
great.
don't want your girl seeing that, but let's not go canceling JT over that, right? We appreciate you coming through, man. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot.
Thanks for having
me. Very much.
So,
This was
what
great.
you got the 3 podcasts, which are out on iTunes and
Yeah.
everywhere else, and
Yeah.
follow them on social and just like tone it down a little bit
I
so
know,
we don't look like
sorry.
assholes. Like
There's
you
also,
already-
you know what?
You already
Speaking
put the
of
ring on, right?
social-
You're good. You're done. So
I
just
know.
stop now, all right?
No.
Which we already gave you a little
You're right,
hell
you're
for
not
the.
wrong.
You said on the podcast, you said that. So Brandy read a text message from her boy,
boyfriend, yeah.
and you were like, "Oh, I got to step my game up." I don't think
Yeah.
you do.
Your game is sufficiently high enough. Okay. If anything, you can tone it down.
All right, I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna go to New Orleans with JT. No, I'm not.